a company wants to get you at the lowest possible cost, and you want to maximize, the salary for which you're hired. Now, these two forces are fighting each other, and there are some tips and tricks to help you maximize the return that you will be able to get, right? Without putting you in that over promising and under delivering situation. Your career is like a living, breathing organism, and building great careers requires nurturing them with strategic guidance. Hi, my name is Sawan Kapoor, and I'm India's leading career coach, also known as the Career Guy. Welcome to the Career Headquarters. The most comprehensive career podcast on the internet, where I will bring you groundbreaking insights on everything career related. Whether you're seeking a career abroad or wanting to switch industries, whether you are entry level or a mid-career professional or a senior leader, I have seen it all. As an award-winning CEO of one of the largest and most profitable beverage alcohol companies, my career spanned 3 continents, multiple industries, and provided me with an accelerated roadmap to the very top. So if you want to build an exceptional career and 3x your paycheck, this podcast is for you.
Welcome to another episode of Career Headquarters, the most comprehensive career podcast. So this episode is all about a very important challenge that most working professionals face at some time or the other in their career. Very basic problem, how to choose the right career. So Sawan, are you ready to dive in?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so my first question to you is, what is the definition of a dream job? What components are necessary for a job to be ideal for you, and how does one go about choosing the right career?
Well, isn't that the $64 million question? See, a dream job must provide a couple of very important things. The first thing it must provide is a sense of extraordinary professional fulfillment. And the second thing it must provide is a tremendous salary. So, the way I look at it is, see, please understand there are these 3 overlapping rings, right? It's like a Venn diagram, right? So the first ring is a ring that I call needs. Okay. So I use needs as an acronym. NEEDS, and it stands for new emergencies and existing difficulties to be solved. So these are all of the pain points, the challenges, as well as all of the opportunities that lie in front of a company. Now, what needs to be understood here is that there are 2 types of needs. There are ordinary needs, and then there are extraordinary needs. See, the ordinary needs are the needs that you find on a job description. They tell you what they are hiring you for, the key responsibilities and the kind of candidate they are looking for. This is the ordinary stuff. The extraordinary needs are the needs that go beyond the job description. These are more complicated issues. These are more complicated pain points, more complicated opportunities. So this is the first circle. The second concept I want to introduce here is the concept of STEEQ. Now, STEEQ again is an acronym. STEEQ. And STEEQ stands for your skills, your talents, your education, your experiences, your knowledge, and your qualities. So this is the sum total of your personal and professional development up until today, up until this point. When your STEEQ overlaps these needs, specifically these extraordinary needs, that is where the magic of, a 3x salary starts to take shape. So you have to align yourself with these extraordinary needs and be able to convince an organization that you are the right person for the job by linking those problems, those extraordinary needs, back to your STEEQ. All right. See, think of yourself as a key. Now, you cannot open every lock, but there are some locks that you are uniquely qualified to open. Okay. So the locks are the problems, these needs, and you are the key. So this alignment has to take place. When you achieve this alignment, that is where you get extraordinary pay. That is where you get, uncommon pay, because you're solving uncommon problems. But this is not the complete picture. The third circle is the circle I called wants. Now, wants again is an acronym, WANTS. what attributes or what aspects are needed to be successful. And using the word wants, I am referring to all of those soft cultural factors that you require to be present every day in a working environment for you to make a good personality fit with the company, a good cultural fit. See, when your value system and the company's value system is in alignment, then you will get a much more supportive environment. But if that alignment is missing, then you'll keep running into dead ends. Either you will not have the competencies to be able to solve their problems, or the culture will not permit you to solve their problems, right? The expected behaviors, the code of conduct of how to work at the company will not allow your personality to be at its productive or effective most. So your dream job lives at the center of these three circles. Now, it's important to understand, I make this comparison between the industry and the job industry. All right. So these super premium jobs, these jobs that will pay you 3x, these jobs are rare. Like diamonds are rare, these jobs are rare. But if you look into diamonds, not all types of diamonds are rare. So if you look at clear, colorless diamonds, they are not really rare. These are like standard jobs. There are many. In fact, last year, 2021, there was more than 14 crore carats worth of clear, colorless diamonds that were mined. But if you look at colored diamonds, not gemstones, colored diamonds, these are truly rare. So if you look at yellow diamonds or pink diamonds or blue diamonds, these are truly rare. And these are those premium jobs that will pay you that extraordinary salary. But there is one color of diamond that is the rarest of all, and that is the red diamond. The red diamond is your dream job. It's your ideal job. And the issue is that it is rare, but it is not rare because it doesn't exist. It is rare because you don't know where to look for it, and you don't have the tools to be able to dig it out. The actuality is that there are many red diamond jobs waiting for you out there. So, the components that you require in a dream job is extreme professional fulfillment and a tremendous salary. I think these two things coming together make a dream job. Of course, there are other smaller elements as well. It must give you a career roadmap. You must be able to grow. You must be challenged. You must be mentored. You must be trusted. You must feel that you're part of a mission. But when you find these two together, that is where everything else is very much in place. So these would be the components of a dream job, and being able to look for these elements proactively before you accept the offer is key. That is how you choose the right position, and that is how you build the right career. So this is what I call finding the right fit. It's very essential that you get into a job where you are going to be challenged, you're going to be mentored, you're going to have all of these elements, and the contribution you make allows you to feel that professional satisfaction that you did something. You sleep well at night, and at the same time you get rewarded for those contributions that you're making in an exceptional way. So
And how can one start this process of finding the right fit?
see, you have to understand the hacks, the shortcuts, the tips and tricks of the system, because unfortunately, how to look for a job, the job search and application journey is not a formal subject that we go through in school or college. You ask the formal system of education, what is the answer to a question like, how to find the right job, or how to take out a loan, and their answer is a square plus b square equals a square plus b square plus 2ab. Now, I'm not trying to take away from the value of education. Education is fantastic. It opens so many doors. It gives us access to opportunities here. But I think there is a tremendous redefinition of what we are teaching the young minds of today that has become a critical need of the hour. So, finding the right job, understand the tips and tricks and the methodologies available to you, so that you don't land up spending all of that time experimenting in hit and trial. Your journey doesn't have to be as long. It can be a more accelerated journey, right? And time is of the ultimate essence. So
Thank you for that. What is the number one problem that job seekers are facing right now?
Well, I can tell you in the pandemic, the number one problem was the increased competition because there had been so many layoffs. There was close to almost 2 crore Indians that had lost their jobs. So for every position, especially for the more meaningful, the more attractive positions, there was almost 4 times the number of applicants. And it was really a demand and supply dynamic that had gone so skewed. you know um, the supply was far outpacing demand, so that was the number one issue. But we're sitting in February 2022, and I can tell you right now, hiring is actually exceeded the pandemic levels. So if you look at hiring right now, I'm on a lot of newsletters and industry boards and all of that, so I get a lot of these statistics. Hiring right now is actually 43% up versus same time last year. And if you look at it versus 2 years ago, hiring right now is almost 61% up. The economy is doing well despite the pandemic, despite this new normal. There are a number of sectors that are doing phenomenally well. The markets are doing well. Of course, there are daily ups and downs, and all of that happens. It's not a linear journey, but by and large, we're trending in the right direction. And specifically, what I see right now, if I was to talk about some challenges that working professionals are experiencing, especially in the job search and application journey, I can tell you the number one problem is they don't know how to differentiate themselves. They don't know how to get across the value that they possess, the value that they bring to the table in a crisp, concise, impactful manner. See, please understand, people relate with you for who they can be with you, not what you can be with them. Similarly, companies also relate with you for their own needs, not for your needs and your greatness. So it's not about blowing your own trumpet, right? So there are communication methodologies, there are things that you have to learn that will allow you to create the right impact, the right demand factor, the right likability, the right chemistry in the interviewer's mind. And that is very critical, and that those are the things that allow you to differentiate yourself, especially in an era where there's a lot more competition. Now there's a lot more people still applying for jobs, but the way hiring is happening is changing because companies are now taking the time to go deeper. See, a lot of people are going to be appointed in a remote capacity. You may not have the opportunity to meet this person in the first year of hiring them. So, companies are going deeper into the interview process, and everybody is looking for that one great worker who can do the job of three average people. And yet, HR is struggling to create the right balances. There's a tremendous amount of load on the HR function right now. So that's one of the factors that I see right now, which is learning how to differentiate oneself. Another factor that I see is that a lot of people are in the wrong career. They've gone into a career that they don't enjoy. Maybe at that time they went into it because of peer pressure or parental pressure. People, they go subordinate to either individual authority or collective authority. So they listen to groups that have influence over them, like a peer group, or individual authority like their mother or their father. And I'll tell you, a lot of people land up in the wrong career. They don't have the awareness that is needed to be able to identify their passion, their calling. And again, the world right now, I especially the coaching industry, I think it is obsessed with this concept of discovering their passion. I don't think you discover your passion as much as you grow into your passion. So, having that awareness and being able to see clear of the pressures, may it be, parental pressure or peer pressure or any other form of pressure, to determine what you want to engage with, something that you can enjoy and do for a sustainably fairly long period of time. That is another challenge that is really coming to the forefront, because, it's really sad, because for a lot of people, they'll end up spending 10 years of their career in a job that they don't really care for, and then life becomes real. They have responsibilities, they've gotten married, they've taken on the EMI of a house, they have children, and then they come to realize that they didn't learn anything. They've not accumulated that personal worth, that value. And this can be a very demoralizing situation, because coming to realize that you've lost a decade of your life, it's not easy to deal with. So this is a second challenge that I'm noticing. Um, the third challenge that I'm looking at is that they are not focusing on the company's pain point or opportunity. All right. A lot of people are just in it for the paycheck. And if you don't create that extraordinary value, you're not going to be able to grow your career. You're hired to solve complex problems. It's not going to be easy by default, right? And in the hiring journey, don't leave this translation of your value in the hands of the hiring manager, in the hands of the HR agency, in the hands of the consultant or the recruiter. So, learning how to market and communicate your value is critical to, getting into the right position and building your career with strategic intent. So these are some of the challenges that I see most associated with the job market of right now.
You spoke about how one challenge was differentiating yourself because there are so many people applying even now. So, can you elaborate on that? What exactly can people do to differentiate them?
Right. I mean, I call this approach the inbound approach. And simply put, as I'd stated earlier, the inbound approach is all about, understanding that companies relate with you for their needs, not for your needs or for your greatness. And in the traditional job search and job application journey, candidates are blowing their own trumpet. They're talking about how they are so great that they are the best fit. Well, guess what? You're speaking in a language that the company doesn't want to listen to. You need to be able to communicate, how your steak, how your totality is relevant and immediately usable for them. Okay. And there are a few other concepts that people will need to understand to bring this to life in an effective way. Because when you are able to apply the inbound approach appropriately, then what you're actually doing is you're marketing yourself. But to the person taking your interview, it doesn't feel like you're marketing yourself. To them, the feeling is, where were you my entire life? Why did I not meet you sooner? Okay. So being able to frame the issue in terms of their opportunities or their problems is critical. And that is the number one technique of how to differentiate yourself from everybody else. Because an organization is in business to create returns for its owner or its shareholders. They've not come into business to provide you employment. That's not the primary responsibility. The only reason an organization brings somebody onto the payroll is when they are convinced that by adding this person, they will be able to generate even stronger returns, even greater value for the owner or the shareholders. So this is something that needs to be understood.
Thank you. So, you have thousands of students and you've seen a lot of career journeys. So, according to you, why are so many people dissatisfied with their jobs?
Um, I can tell you that, people are dissatisfied with their jobs. There was actually a survey conducted by the Economic Times, and they do this every 5 years. They survey more than 1 lakh people across tier 1 and tier 2 cities, and it's really credible, very powerful information. And the last survey, the number one reason for dissatisfaction with your job was bad relationships, in the workplace with your boss and your colleagues. And again, I want to break a myth here. People say it takes two hands to clap, right? People say that a relationship is dependent on two people. I want you to understand this concept. A relationship is not up to two people, it's up to one person. In a lot of those strained relationships, there is a flower and there is a gardener. Okay. The gardener will continue to take care of the flower, but the flower does not have the vocal cords to be able to ever thank the gardener back. You don't get acknowledgement for these things, right? The acknowledgement for the gardener is that the flower is blossoming, right? So please understand, there is a lot of introspection to be done when it comes to such situations where you have a bad relationship with a boss or a colleague, because many a times what is happening is that you are being challenged to grow. Okay, and that you can only discern if you have the ability to introspect and self reflect, because we try to take the path of least resistance, and many a times the path of least resistance leads us down a road where we want to run away from the problem, where we want to bury our head in the sand. So please understand, the number one reason was bad relationships at work with your boss and your colleagues. The second reason was that the company is not able to provide you a career roadmap, and that's essential because we want to live lives of significance. We want to live lives of meaning. We want to know that this is not all there is. There is a future that is brighter, and our best days are not behind us. And being able to make significant progress in all areas of your, of one's life, not just in one's career, it's associated with the feeling of hope, and that's very essential to being human. Um, so, a company that proactively helps its workforce understand that there is a career roadmap for them, that they will grow if they make positive contributions, is critical. And one of the things that the pandemic did was it caused so much confusion and so much disruption, problems for so many industries, that companies didn't know what their next step is. So naturally that did not trickle down to people's career paths, their career roadmaps. So that's been another reason why the workforce, especially the skilled workforce, has been so dissatisfied. The third reason is the financial reason. It's the overall package, the overall remuneration. And when I ask this question, what do you think is the number one reason why people are not satisfied with their work? The number one answer I always get is salary, followed by a bad boss. The number two answer I get is wrong boss. But that's not the number one reason. The financial reason is not the number one reason. It's actually the third reason. And if you think about it logically, it makes sense. We are far more social than we are monetary. A lot of people would choose feeling fulfilled and happy with work over money. Now, money by itself is probably the single most important variable when looking at a job, but it cannot be looked at in isolation, right? Money is going to run the economic engine of your life, but if you look at it by itself and you're in a job where you love your salary but you hate the work, that's not a sustainable situation. And similarly, it can't be the opposite. You can't be in a position where you love your job but you hate your salary. So there has to be a balance between these two. So these, I think, are the three top reasons. But what it comes down to is the ability to look inside, to be able to reflect and introspect, that if I'm facing difficult relationships or difficult situations in my professional life, are these opportunities to grow, or are they truly unfair situations? For example, if there is unethical practices going on or inappropriate behavior going on in a workplace, then of course those are situations where you should move on. You should quit. But if somebody's playing some minor politics, or if there is a difficult project that requires a tremendous amount of effort, then don't victimize yourself in those situations. Okay, don't play the victim card. These are opportunities to grow, and being able to discern truly which is going to be critical to being able to feel the professional satisfaction and be that person who can create a phenomenal career.
So, Savan, I just want to go back for a minute. You were talking about the inbound approach, and you were talking about how a company relates with you for their needs and not for your needs. So, I found that very intriguing. Can you shed some more light on it?
Yeah, I could see that you've enjoyed that. I'll take you a little deeper here. See, if you look at the journey of how someone is hired into their dream job, there are three stages. Okay, and I call this uh, the KLT process: know, like, and trust. Okay, and so the first stage is, how does the company get to know you? How do you become visible to the organization? On what context does the company get to understand who you are. You have to get this right to differentiate yourself, and only then will you move to stage number two, where they start to like you. Okay. And the reason they like you is because you're using the inbound approach, right? You're keeping the focus on their problems. See, whenever in life you pay sincere attention or you give sincere importance to someone else's issues, you become more important to them, right? This is just how human psychology works. So you have to get stage one correct, which is how they get to know you, and then you move to stage two, which is them starting to like you. And if you get these two stages correct, because these two stages are going to be present in every single job search opportunity and job application journey, if you get these two stages right, then you have an opportunity to take part in the third stage, which is get hired and to be trusted. But trust will only begin after you get hired. See, your work has to speak for itself. They've invested in the potential of who you are as a candidate. Then at the end of the day, you're not getting paid for how you look, or your personality, or the knowledge you have, or the time you put in. You're getting paid for results. So when you produce results, that's where trust builds. You get culturally assimilated to a degree where you become one of them. In fact, you get culturally assimilated to a point where then you can lead change, right? You have to win people's hearts first before you will win their minds. Because nobody cares how much you know till they come to realize how much you care, right? So this third stage of trust will begin once you get the job. But the reason you'll be able to earn their trust is because if you use this model, if you use my methodology, then you are in a position where your steak is lined up with their needs, and they're providing you an environment where you make a good personality fit. So the chances that you will get the professional fulfillment and make a tremendous salary are maximized. In fact, those are the basis on which you've been hired. So you have set yourself up for success. But please understand, your first interaction with a company will be a written interaction. You'll submit your application, they'll read your cover letter, right? They'll look at your resume. So mastering the inbound approach in the written mode of communication is essential, right? Only then will you move to the verbal mode of communication. They will screen you, they will shortlist you. You'll get a phone call where they will be trying to assess, hey, we really loved how this person became visible to us. We really loved that this person's cover letter had so much substance. They knew how to keep the focus on our issues, and that's why we're relating with them. But then they are going to qualify, does this person really match up to the letter, or is the letter a fluke, right? So that is where they're going to screen you and shortlist you. And that is where you have to master the inbound approach in the verbal mode of communication. Only then will it lead to an interview. And then in the interview, you have to master it in live communication. May it be a face-to-face interview, or may it be a virtual interview. You have to understand how to prepare objectives for the interview. You have to understand how to develop that chemistry and that relationship. How you can use the right icebreakers through research. There are a number of strategies that you use to get this right. So I hope I was able to take you a little deeper and help you understand
Yes,
this.
yes, you certainly did. Thank you. So, where does a career coach fit into all of this? Can a career coach help you with this? And also, is there a specific time for a professional to engage with a career coach?
Well, where does a career coach fit in? Where a career coach will be able to evaluate if you are running away from a situation, or if it is truly a situation that's unfair. That's one. A career coach will also be able to accelerate your career and accelerate your income, your salary. You have to look at this as an investment, not as a cost, because investments produce returns. A cost is something that sinks, right? Um, and they teach you how to tackle all of the moving parts in the job search and application, and even the career management journey. See, there are so many moving parts. There's dealing with recruiters, HR agencies, and consultants and the likes. There is, mastering the interview process, as I was just talking about. Because an interview is, it's not a session where you are being grilled. It is the highest form of an information meeting. It's that meeting where you also get to generate tremendous insight by asking questions. As much as the company is interviewing you, you are interviewing the company. And at the end of the day, it's just a conversation, right? But there is so much fear and hype around the interview. People go into it so timidly. Then there is negotiating or maximizing your salary. And there are specific tactics, because all over the world, not just in India, all over the world, a company wants to get you at the lowest possible cost, and you want to maximize, the salary for which you're hired. Now, these two forces are fighting each other, and there are some tips and tricks to help you maximize the return that you will be able to get, right? Without putting you in that over promising and under delivering situation. Then, of course, targeting the right companies, because see, you're going to meet companies uh, that will do right by you once you produce the value for them. They will give you the reward, the value will flow back to you as well. And then you will also find companies that will find an excuse. In fact, the majority of the companies find an excuse, right? That conversation of how value is to come back to you, it's always postponed, right? And larger companies, you also have a tremendous amount of governance and systems. There's no limit on the value that an employee is supposed to produce, but there's a limit on how you will be rewarded. So, these are some of the things that a career coach helps you manage. They also help you run this entire effort as a campaign, because there is an opportunity cost involved. Especially if you're unemployed, time is going by and salary is not coming in. You have to run your life. So when you run your job search efforts as a campaign, that is where you can best leverage your risk and your timelines. So to be able to generate multiple offers in a close enough time range, right? So that you can compare these offers and truly come to understand which one is the best offer for you. Because your work is going to be a part of your life. Your life is not a part of your work. That said, in today's environment, we'll end up spending more time at work than we do with our families. So, you better be engaged with something that you really love, that you really enjoy. Another thing that a career coach does is they help you tackle workplace politics. There are so many power games that are played, in the office environment. Some of these office environments can really be like a, Saas Bahu show. So, it's unfortunate, but it is something that people have to contend with. And learning how to create, the boundaries around yourself where you're perceived with the respect and the authority that you deserve. I mean, you have to earn it. But there are, again, tactics that you can use to ensure that you onboard and you are perceived the right way from the get-go. Or if you've been in a situation where you've been compromised in these aspects, then you can come back to that baseline where nobody can play games with you going further. So this is, again, a very important area that a career coach can help you work through. Another thing that a career coach can help you work through is building a personal brand and influence, right? You don't want to be the biggest secret in your industry, right? But there is a way to building your personal brand. You can't come at it and be, it shouldn't be a process where it's hubris, you know so it's very important that you build it while giving credit. You build it through a tremendous sense of sincerity. You build it on a tremendous sense of realism. So, again, there is a way to build influence, go viral. All of these things are important because your personal brand is something that will pay you, for decades. It's your reputation. It's the character that you have. And another area, I think we were talking about it in another one of our episodes, was switching careers. So that's another area that, a career coach can help you with if you want to choose a different industry or a different function. Because, a lot of people will face that permission paradox. They'll face that situation where you can't get the experience without getting the job, and you can't get the job without getting the experience. So it's like a catch 22, out of the fire into the frying pan. So career coaches know, or at least the right career coaches know, how to help you create that environment of support to be able to break through such situations. Another thing that I feel is a very important aspect of what a career coach helps a working professional with is he or she can hold them accountable. They have to know when to be able to hug you and when to encourage you, and when to be able to kick you or give you a slap on the back of the hand and hold you accountable, hold your feet to the fire. Because please understand, your growth will only occur on the boundary of support and challenge. So if you go to the gym and you lift weights, you've been lifting weights for 10 minutes and working and tiring out your arms, your biceps. It's that last 30 seconds when your muscles are refusing to lift the weight, where they are tearing, where you've pushed it to failure, right? That needs to happen for the muscle to grow and come back stronger, right? So that's something that a career coach really helps you with, holding your feet to the fire so that you can reach that limit where you truly grow. Now, see, all of these things can lead to a very accelerated career journey, and you can't skip the hard work, but they can teach you the processes, the methodologies, the strategies required to accelerate your career. Because the returns you generate from your career, may they be fulfillment that you experience, or the salary that you make, um, how great they are is a factor of time. How quickly are you able to, and how sustainably you are able to accumulate these returns uh, over a shorter time means a stronger career, right? Especially, I mean, they have to be sustainable. It cannot be that you just touched success and then you never experience success again. So it has to be in a sustainable manner. So what needs to be understood here is that the road to career development is paved with personal development. It's who you become when you are pushed to failure repeatedly. It's not the goal, because winners and losers both can have the same goals. It's not very difficult to articulate a goal. The real prize is who you become when you know how to achieve that goal, or when you have achieved that goal. So it's this mix of personal growth strategies plus all of the career acceleration or career fixing strategies that a career coach does. You may be battling a pain point like your age is very senior now, and age as a factor is preventing you from getting interviews. You could have an employment gap on your resume, right? You could have been fired, or you may be underappreciated or under recognized. You may be underpaid, you may be unemployed, you may be underemployed. Your skills and talents are not being fully used. So these are the areas that a career coach can help you with, and it's very important to select the right career coach, because if they have not walked the journey themselves, you can't give something you don't have, right? So only someone who has walked the journey themselves will be able to guide you, to help you understand what your journey is going to be like, to help you understand what pitfalls and pain points are going to come up at different times. And they must be able to also not just repackage content, but be able to give you original leading thought. What they have to say must be relevant in the market of today, and they must be able to produce results. So not only create the content, but even deliver it for impact and create results repeatedly. The closer the system is to a scientific principle like gravity, gravity doesn't need your permission to apply to you. You don't need to agree with it to apply to you. And that's some of the work that we do, is that the success rate from our program is so incredibly high, because again, there is a congruence of having walked that journey, having built companies to multiple hundreds of millions of dollars, hiring and working with large teams across a number of different functions and continents and time zones and industries. So if you have not walked that journey, you're not going to be able to. And unfortunately, the coaching industry gets a bad rap, because there are so many people that can market themselves well, but they don't have the depth to be able to then guide the student, right? The person involved. So those are some of the things that a career coach does. I feel it's a sacred job, because this job is all about the student. It's not about you. It has to come from a place of tremendous service. You have to know when to hold their feet to the fire, because sometimes to get out of the hard work, they can hate you. And it's okay, because a coach is not a paid best friend. A coach is someone who helps you understand what has been limiting you. And that's an uncomfortable process. It's a process that requires a tremendous amount of honesty. And then they have to have the right method to be able to help you move past those limitations. So you can see I get passionate about this stuff. Great.
Okay, so we've come to the end of the episode. This was very, very, very helpful. So to any working professional who's watching this and wants to dive deeper and wants to know more about the exact step-by-step process that they have to follow to find their dream job, what can they do?
Find the right career coach for yourself. Like I said, the career coach has to earn the right in your eyes. See, the fastest way to that promised land is working with an expert. They're going to help you shorten your journey. So if you want to connect with me, go to my Instagram handle. You'll find my masterclass link there, or send us an email at connect@sawankapoor.com. Come attend a masterclass. Come understand, what these tips and tricks are that can help you accelerate your own journey, because we all have this limited amount of time. We live just once. And if you want to improve the quality of your life, in fact, people who have a fulfilling professional life, they have a much higher general quality of life. Because work is going to make up a huge part of what you do. The majority of your waking hours, you're going to spend at work. So, it's a very critical area of your life. And if you don't have meaningful work, it's absolutely impossible to be happy. So,
thank you. See you in the next episode.
Lovely. Pleasure being here with you. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Career Headquarters, the most comprehensive career podcast dedicated to building exceptional careers. If you enjoyed this conversation, please share this with someone you think would benefit from the ideas and the insights shared on this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on Spotify, Apple, Google, Overcast, Castro, or Breaker. If you want to learn more about building an extraordinary career for yourself, I invite you to come attend my free Power Up Your Career live workshop. In this workshop, I will teach you the step-by-step process of landing your dream job in less than 90 days. The link to register is in the description below, and I will see you live at the workshop.